Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanan namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, chapter Canto 4, chapter 6, text number 48. Yasmin yada pushkaranava mayaya Yasmin yada pushkaranava mayaya Durantaya sprishta-diyah pritag-drishah Durantaya sprishta-diyah pritag-drishah Kurvanti tatrahi anukampaya kripam Kurvanti tatrahi anukampaya kripam Nasadavo daiva balatkrite kramam Nasadavo daiva balatkrite kramam Yasmin, in some place, Yadha, when, Pushkaranabha Mayaya, the illusory energy of Pushkaranabha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Durantaya, insurmountable, Sprishta-diyaha, bewildered, Pritak-darshaha, the same persons who see differently, Kurvanti, do, Tatra, there, he, certainly, Anukampaya, out of compassion, Kripam, mercy, Na, never, Sadavaha, saintly persons, Daiva Balat, by providence, Krite, being done, Kramam Provas. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. My dear Lord, if in some places materialists who are already bewildered by the insurmountable illusory energy of the Supreme Godhead sometimes commits offences, a saintly person with compassion does not take this seriously. Knowing that they commit offences because they are overpowered by the illusory energy, he does not show his prowess to counter them. Purport. It is said that the beauty of a tapasvi or a saintly person is forgiveness. There are many instances in the spiritual history of the world in which many saintly persons, although unnecessarily harassed, did not take action, although they could have done so. Parikhit Maharaj, for example, was unnecessarily cursed by a Brahmana boy, and this was very much regretted by the boy's father. But the Parikhit Maharaj accepted the curse and agreed to die within a week, as the Brahmana boy desired. Parikhit Maharaj was emperor and was full in power, both spiritually and materially. But out of compassion and out of respect for the Brahmana community, he did not counteract the action of the Brahmana boy but agreed to die within 7 days. Because it was desired by Krishna that Parikhit Maharaj agreed to the punishment, so that the instruction of Srimad-Bhagavatam would thus be revealed to the world. Parikhit Maharaj was advised not to take action. A Vaishnava is personally tolerant for benefit of others. When he does not show his prowess, this does not mean he is lacking in strength. Rather, it indicates that he is tolerant for the welfare of the entire human society. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjanachalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat the translation. My dear Lord, if in some places materialists were already bewildered by the insurmountable illusory energy of the Supreme Godhead, sometimes commit offences, a saintly person with compassion does not take this seriously, knowing that they commit offences because they are overpowered by the illusory energy. He does not show his prowess to counteract them. So this is another great principle of Vaishnava behavior or behavior of any great personality that Brahma is explaining or citing. Of course, glorifying Lord Shiva, that he has all the powers to curse, he has all the powers to kill Daksha. He does not lack anything, any power to counteract the insults that Daksha had thrown against Lord Shiva mainly against his offense in not preventing Sati from committing suicide, insulting her when she came to the assembly uninvited. So Lord Shiva, of course, his anger was when he himself was insulted. He quietly came back and he did not protest. But later on, when Sati was insulted, resulted in Sati's giving up her life, it was not insult against him. So Lord Shiva was very angry and wanted to kill everybody. All the people in that camp he wanted to kill. So, therefore now here Brahma is here with all the people who are doing the yajna, the priests and other great worldly personalities, global personalities. All of them have approached Lord Shiva, headed by Brahma. My dear Lord, if in some materialists who are already bewildered by insurmountable illusory energy, you're saying they are all in Maya, you forgive them. They do not know what they are doing. They do not know what they are doing is, like yesterday's verse said, by the will of providence itself they are killing themselves by this act of offending. And therefore, you may kindly forgive them. Don't show your power to counteract them. Please don't show. So Prabhupada explains that the forgiveness is a great quality of all tapasvis. Because tapasvis have more power than ordinary beings. If they are not tolerant, then their tapas power can be used to bring harm to the living entities. No doubt, if some tapasvi is misusing his power, then he will lose his power of tapasya. So even tapasvi, therefore tapasvis are also very careful about using their power. That is one thing. And also they are very compassionate, as Brahma is saying. It's not that Shiva does not know, as Brahma is saying that please forgive them, they are an illusion. Earlier already Brahma glorified Lord Shiva for his forgiving nature. And Prabhupada is explaining that in the spiritual history of the world, so many saints, in spite of being harassed, they always forgive those who are harassing them. Like several places Prabhupada talks about Haridas Thakur, talks about Jesus Christ. So they were harassed, but they begged forgiveness from the Lord. Please, don't take action on them. Because what happens, the Lord will be very angry. Devotees may forgive, or devotees may tolerate, but the Lord will not forgive. So therefore the devotee begs, please forgive. Of course it's left to the Lord. The Lord ultimately says, okay, I will forgive if you go and beg forgiveness from the devotee. Then it is possible. So all these wonderful qualities, patience, humility, tolerance, forgiveness, if all these qualities are not there, then one cannot be a Vaishnava. One cannot be a Vaishnava. If somebody carries something in his head, that means he is not forgiven. When you don't forgive somebody, then it carries in your head. It will disturb. And if you carry in your head, it is only harmful to ourselves only. Why any negative feelings towards another Vaishnava, even if he has hurt me? I should not have anything. As I explained yesterday, this karmic consciousness of fairness is not the way in which the devotee responds in his mind with what happens to him through others, inflicted by others. And he does not, his way of response is different than, fighting for justice and carrying it in the mind. All these things are very disturbing to one's service, devotion service, very disturbing to one's chanting, japa, as Prabhupada explained in yesterday's purport, that if you are not tolerant, if you are not humble, very difficult to do, nama japa. So it is a fact that in the course of social living, all these kinds of interactions, and in the course of interaction these rubbings will happen. But we have to maintain our purity. We have to maintain maybe so many complications around a devotee in his life. Somebody is attacking, somebody is envious, somebody is taking away credit for his service, this thing, all kinds of things. He is surrounded with all kinds of situations. And in all those situations, the devotees have to keep his heart free from any negative feeling towards other Vaishnavas. Why? Towards other living entities itself. And that will only indirectly affect the Vaishnava. Vaishnava knows, I have to keep my heart clean. I have to keep my heart clean. So one of the most powerful ways of keeping the heart clean is by, from the heart, forgiving if somebody has hurt. If somebody has hurt, they will hurt. A moment you will feel hurt. We are human beings. For a moment you get angry, for a moment you get hurt. That is natural. That is not what is being talked about. But immediately spiritual intelligence prevails upon him. And immediately he, for greater benefit, the devotee tolerates everything. If suppose, let us say, so many things happen in a Vaishnava community, and so many decisions are made in the Vaishnava community, and so many things will be, nobody can say perfect decisions will be made, especially when there is personal rubbing between two devotees. Somebody will, authority, whoever immediate authority will say he is right or he is wrong, or he thinks that I have complained, I did not get a fair response to it, all these things. If one gets into that mood of pursuing that, then you cannot have a community at all. One should just do his duty and free himself. So one should not become emotional about all these things, unless it is about offending another Vaishnava. So there are instructions for a Vaishnava. When he is offended, that means he is offended-centric instructions are there. And there are also instructions for not to offend, that means offender-centric instructions are there. So neither we should offend somebody nor take offense when somebody offends. So as I was explaining, if everybody goes to the logical conclusion of who is right, who is wrong, who is right, who is wrong, who is right, who is wrong, this right and wrong gives misery to the mind. especially in the society, in the community of devotees, right and wrong. If somebody is too attached, then he cannot sleep, he cannot chant, he thinks the world is very unfair, and what is the point in me living, and this and that, and I want to leave the society of devotees. This kind of things come. Answer to all that is what? Just tolerate, just forgive, ho gaya, carry on with your life. Sometimes the issues are so small, it becomes a emotional mountain. It is a molehill, so small. The small things become such a big mountain that it will take you out of the association of Vaishnavas. It's not worth it, no? Small things. 2-3 times he stole my gamcha. I am very upset. I told him 2 times, 3, again 3rd time, again he has taken. Next day you cannot chant properly, all gamcha. Instead he could have very simply, chodo gamcha only, no. Again 4th time go and tell him. That is patience. You should think that maybe Krishna wants me to develop patience. 5th time he will take, 6th time he will take. Okay, I should be patient. It's very difficult, but go there. Again go to him, 6th time tell him, please don't take my gamcha. It will be a great practice of patience, practice of tolerance, practice of forgiveness. A Vaishnava enjoys this rasa. He sees Krishna is testing him and he wants to pass that test. He is not seeing from the way the world sees. His sukha, his dukkha, he sees it from completely another angle he sees. That is what is here, it is said. Pritag drishaha. The same persons who see differently. You see differently. You see, the Vaishnava sees everything as the mercy of the Lord. That means there is something that the Lord wants to teach me. So let me get me that lesson out of this incident in life, rather than me fighting for justice and all these kind of things. Prabhupada is giving example in this purport of how Parikhit Maharaj, he was an emperor. When the Brahmana boy cursed him, he could have arrested him and he could have, no, he took upon the curse. Yeah, I have done mistake. He took upon the curse. But at the same time you see the boy's father, he was feeling very upset. Brahmana boy's father, how did he curse? Why did he curse? He should not have cursed the king. Brahmana means he should have tolerated. How did he do this? He was chastising his son. So that is his perspective. The boy's perspective was immediate impulsive reaction. How can the king not respect my father? So the way the Brahmana's father saw the situation was different. The way Maharaj Parikshit responded to the situation is different. And we all know that Parikshit took it as will of the providence, and we know what was the result. Entire Bhagavatam was spoken for the welfare of the world. From that curse, what resulted was something great for the welfare of the whole world. So this way, to see things differently, as the hands of Krishna, for a purpose of Krishna, different situations, is a Vaishnava's way of doing things. Vaishnava's way of seeing insults, attacks, rebellion, all these things against. Even Prabhupada himself faced rebellion from his own disciples. Not ordinary rebellion. Worst kind of things. In order to glorify Srila Prabhupada's tolerance, Prabhupada tolerated this kind of situations. It is worth noting this episode of Kirtanananda Swami, how very only appreciation of Prabhupada will increase when you hear these are the kind of things Srila Prabhupada had to face to build this Krishna consciousness movement, and which we are all today enjoying. We are enjoying our father's property. How the spiritual organization is Prabhupada's, as a founder Acharya, is his property. How he built this property. And today we are inheriting that. It was not a smooth journey for Srila Prabhupada. I just read. Although Srila Prabhupada was not impressed with Kirtananda's radical ideas, he used to come up with new ideas of preaching. He agreed to compromise with his headstrong disciples. Srila Prabhupada told Kirtananda, go to London and start a preaching center. Kirtananda was not thrilled by Srila Prabhupada's suggestion to go to London. They were all head-heavy people they were. You'll see now. He knew how difficult it was to start a center. He had done it in Montreal. He thought that in time, when his Krishna conscious reformation began attracting, he had his own idea of how to reform America. Began huge numbers of Americans. Then Srila Prabhupada will be forced to recognize that Kirtananda had what it takes to become a great spiritual master. I am also a powerful guru. That was the kind of mood that Kirtananda had. And he was one of the foremost leaders. Imagine, you won't even sleep if you have an organization, somebody like this. Instead of going to London as Srila Prabhupada ordered after giving him sannyas, so to that person Prabhupada gave sannyas, and Kirtananda returned to New York. And then what he did, he attempted to convince his god brothers of his non-sectarian vision. What is that? He first explained to his god brothers that Srila Prabhupada was old and sick and would probably never return from India. Prabhupada had just come to India. So he said, anyway, he is sick and old, he is not going to come. In other words, he thought he is going to be the next leader. And he brought out revolutionary, so-called revolutionary ideas of non-sectarian preaching. No, head shaving, no this thing, completely. He should put gown and all kind of things. Okay. New York devotees were heartbroken. But Kirtananda tried to uplift their spirits by claiming that Srila Prabhupada had personally empowered him to carry on the Hare Krishna movement. He boldly began his plan to de-Indianize Krishna consciousness. He began growing a beard, wore a bib and clerical collar, and modified the Hare Krishna Kirtan by adding Om Namah Shivaya. My God. That is why it is said, it is very historical. It is how this history of how Srila Prabhupada set up this Hare Krishna movement. As I said, it will go into future other yugas. When Bhagavatam is written, all these stories will go. The bewildered devotees wrote to their master requesting clarification. And Prabhupada sent many letters condemning Kirtanananda, and that this disciple has become crazy. After reading the letters, the New York ISKCON president refused to let Kirtanananda enter the building, and they spat on him. Humiliated and furious, Kirtananda fled and moved in with his roommate, Hayagriva. Hayagriva was so angry that he threatened to keep Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita manuscripts, which he had been editing, and tried to publish it himself. Kirtananda removed Prabhupada's name from the manuscript, replaced it with his own name. He and Hayagriva visited religious book publishers to try and get their book published. But no publisher believed that Kirtananda had actually written the book. Hayagriva then returned the manuscript to Srila Prabhupada. It's amazing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that there could be order in an organization which had origins like this. Kirtananda then had stationery printed for an organization he called First United Church of Krishna - Youth Organization Underground. This is the name. All youth organization. So, First United Church of Krishna Youth Organization Underground. To send nasty letters to Prabhupada and some of his god brothers. In that letterhead, he sent nasty letters. The first letter of each word formed an acronym. I don't want to utter that from the Bhagavatam seat. You can see. First letters you see. First United Church of Krishna. Then Youth Organization. You know what that. So this is the first letter which reflected his profane mood towards Prabhupada. And still finally Prabhupada kept this man. Achyutananda Das was with Prabhupada in India when he received a letter from Kirtanananda that they had found this land in West Virginia and were starting an ashram, but rejected Prabhupada and his dogma. Prabhupada wept over that letter. Kirtananda didn't have the spiritual potency, magnetism, charisma and exoticism which came so naturally and easily to Srila Prabhupada. And now he was practically all alone in wilderness of West Virginia. What to do? So he took up that. He had no disciples, nobody, no people are not there. He decided somehow to get back to ISKCON. However painful it might be, to humble himself and admit defeat. Kirtananda couldn't bring himself to write directly to Prabhupada to apologize and beg for forgiveness. Although he desired to reconcile with his spiritual master, he was still too proud. He requested another devotee, Janardhan, to write for him, for which Prabhupada replied, regarding Kirtananda's letter, I may inform you that I always think of him and pray to Krishna for his good sense. That is my duty. Anyone who comes to me for my help or wants to advance in Krishna consciousness and whom I initiate and accept as my disciple, I must pray for him and his welfare always. So Kirtananda personally served me, especially during my illness, which I always remember. But because somehow or the other he has misunderstood our activities, that does not mean that I am no longer his well-wisher. I write at the end of my letters to my disciples, your ever well-wisher. And as such, I cannot become otherwise than being ever well-wisher of my disciples. even though he may leave. Even though he may leave me. So just see, it's just a summary of lot of letters are on record of Prabhupada chastising Kirtananda Swami. Not only this time, several times for crazy ideas. Many times he said he's gone crazy. And finally he was one of the 11 Ritviks also. So obviously that itself shows that the 11 Ritviks were not gurus. If you take the history like that, each individual's history, if you say that, you cannot, they were how many years old? This letter was, Prabhupada's letter was in 1977. At the most, a disciple could have been 10 years old in Krishna consciousness movement. Right? 10 years old. So what if one of the 10-year-old devotee here sits on the Vyasasana and thinks he is Guru? This is exactly what the 11 people did in this society. After Prabhupada left, they put 11 Vyasasanas and all these bachas sat there. And then they proclaimed that we 11 will never fall down because we are acharyas. We will never fall down. And there was one song also being composed. What is the song was beginning like this? Ye Gara Mahajana. These 11 Mahajanas. Simultaneous, for Mayapur festival time, all 11 is to sit together. Guru Puja time, simultaneous Guru Puja was going on for all these 11 people. Atrocious things happened. Then from 80, one so-called Mahajanas started tumbling down the Vyasasana. So, that is why it is said that we know that Srila Prabhupada is still in control of the movement and is guiding, he tolerated all these people. He tolerated and engaged them in Krishna's service. See, he engaged them and built the Krishna consciousness movement. It is not possible. Even a normal, materially speaking, also it is not possible. It's a managerial miracle. It's a leadership miracle. First thing, a leader wants good followers. Then he can be successful. If no good followers, he will say, not possible. He will go and search for good followers. Prabhupada was a leader. He took whatever followers he got. Not good followers or bad followers, nothing. Everybody is servant of Krishna. He took them and he utilized them in service of the Lord, gave them so much kripa of being able to get a chance to serve the Supreme Lord, and this entire movement was built up. These are all the realities. Unusual history of the unusual Krishna consciousness movement. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, this is question from yesterday's class that we had discussed about devotional service. Devotional service. So I have two cases about devotional service, Prabhu. So the first case is that there is a particular devotional service which I am very attached that I should only do that service. Nobody else should do. And if others do, I get angry. And another case is, I just make sure that service is done. Whoever does it, it doesn't matter. So what should be the ideal case?
Ideal case should be the second one. If you are if you are authorized to do, it's all about what do you think about it. It is not extra. Finally, you may suppose if your authorities are saying that no, you should do it, then you can be attached to it. I only will do it. I only will do it. So, because that's not coming from you. But when it comes to originates in you, you should be very careful. It's out of false ego, it is out of, attachment. All these things should go. First of all, we have to understand, devotional service means bhavagrahi janardana. It is not the specific service that Krishna is receiving. He is receiving the same wherever bhakti is there, whether you are a Astan Pujari, whether you are a cleaner, whether you are a leader or you are a preacher or whatever, manager or whatever title you may have. Krishna is not appreciating, oh, he is managing nicely. What managing nicely? Krishna is saying, he is managing with devotion. Oh, Krishna is saying, oh, he has collected a lot. No. Collected a lot of less is all given by Krishna only. So why he should say collected a lot? The ability is his. I am the ability in man. What did you give your free will to? To serve him? Yes. Devotedly? Yes. Committedly? Yes. These are all symptoms of devotion. These are all symptoms of bhava. Bhavagrahi janardana. Committed to Srila Prabhupada, or is committed due to so many other factors for himself. You can be committed for your factors also, your sense gratification. So that is not bhava. All this Krishna picks up like this. He is in our heart. He picks up this. So fundamental thing that devotee should understand, he will become very peaceful in life. You go into specifics, you will go crazy. Envy, this thing, all kinds of things will disturb the devotees. He's like, yeah, this is a big problem living in the society of devotees. Like this he will conclude. So solution for that is, you should understand that I am here to change my attitude from lauding to serving. Entire exercise of my devotional service is change the mood of service. Change the mood of my activity. Even the same lauding, so that is what Krishna wants. We should give what Krishna wants. No? So in that mood, suppose, okay, Krishna wants only feeling. No, I'll just sit and feel. No, not sit and feel. In the action there is feeling. You can be committed either for Krishna or for false ego. But commitment, unless commitment is an action which is following a feeling. So actions ultimately represent the feeling behind it. So simply sitting with feeling is, when he says Bhavagrahi Janardana, means the bhavana with which you perform his service. So service is important, not only bhavana. Service with bhavana is important, because the service is a reflection of his bhavana. Either in the bhavana, Krishna conscious bhavana, or lauding bhavana. It's a reflection of that. So we have to keep our thought, feelings clean in our heart when we do our service. And that is what Krishna is receiving. He should. Then in the case of social discourse, we may talk, he did that, success. It all should be taken at a very vyavaharic level. It is natural. When we are in a society, he'll say he collected this much, this thing, go on. Oh, thoda andar nahi lena hai. Baat to chalta hai. We have to talk. Hey, he collected so much. This is all natural. Let it be there. We are in a society. Let it be there. But don't take it inside. So simultaneously that can also exist. Huh? Suppose somebody is not, collecting, not going out, not collecting. Authority will pull him up and ask him, why you are not doing? Look, last month this is the collection. Now you cannot say, Bhava Grahi Janardana. You cannot preach back to him. Prabhu, you do not know my Bhava. So don't question me. Krishna does not want money. Krishna wants bhavana. I am sitting in my cabin and I am giving bhavana. So we have to look into all those things at one level, and then if somebody is, you are committed to seva of the Lord, you are committed to seva of Prabhupada, there may be mixed motives, mixed bhavana, something for myself, something for Krishna. Does not matter, commitment is important. That commitment will slowly get purified. Will get purified. Okay? Grandharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada.